Despite the wonderful events we just covered, many people will use this weekend to play a little catch-up.
But not with their favorite TV show or their finances, but with something a lot more basic. Alex has more.
Although the switch to daylight savings time doesn't affect us here in Arizona, most of the people across the nation will face a shift in their schedules, including valuable sleep time. It may even be that you have trouble sleeping without the clocks changing. Here to tell us about the importance of sleep and how it can affect your life is clinical psychologist Michael Bruce. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning.
So let's start out a little bit broad. What is the importance of getting proper sleep?
So we now know that sleep affects every organ system, every disease state. It affects your emotions, it affects your ability to think, it affects your ability to participate in any activity out there. Sleep is really the foundation for both health and wellness, and we know that without good sleep, all of those other areas can be pretty dramatically affected.
Well, and I think getting the proper amount of sleep means that you go through different stages. Now, can you describe some of those to our viewers?
Sure. And so what we now know is there are several different stages of sleep. So people go from wake to stage 1, stage 2, down into stage 3 and 4, which is some of the best refreshing sleep, back to stage 2 and on into REM sleep. And from that point forward, that's considered a cycle, which lasts about 90 minutes. Then you have about 4 or 5 of those cycles throughout the night, and that's really what we're looking for when we talk about good sleep. It's not just a quantity issue, it's also a quality issue. You know, I work in a pain center where we look at a lot of different areas, and we know that people in pain don't sleep particularly well, and the more sleep deprived a person is, the more pain that they actually feel. That's one of the reasons why I partnered with Advil PM in order to start to look at that relationship and be able to help some of these people out.
Well, I think that's actually probably shocking to a lot of people, that if they don't get enough sleep, some of their pain symptoms, you know, some of their issues with their body can actually go away if you get enough sleep. That's what you're saying.
Absolutely. One of the things we now know is that, in fact, the more sleep deprived you are, if you can catch up on some of that sleep, or if you need to use something like, for example, an Advil PM to help you with sleep, it will absolutely help you with that overall level feeling of pain.
Now, there's something called the circadian rhythm. Some people might have heard what that means, might have heard of that, but may not know what it means. Can you maybe tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So your circadian rhythm is your internal biological clock, kind of like hunger. So if you know you get hungry at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, your circadian clock helps tune that. And the same holds true with sleep, is your circadian clock wants you to fall asleep. Believe it or not, on average, around 10:30, quarter to 11 o'clock seems to be the optimal time. And we know that the circadian rhythm runs off of your core body temperature rhythm. So as your body heats up and then cools down, that's when your body wants to go to sleep.
Well, and I think the big point on that is that it actually takes some fine-tuning. You know, it's not something that you can just adjust overnight. Now, if someone's been having a little bit of trouble getting to sleep, what are some tips on actually falling asleep and staying asleep?
So the number one thing I tell people to do is to go to bed at the same time and wake up at the same time every day, including the weekends. That consistency is what helps reset that biological clock. Also, when you wake up in the morning, believe it or not, getting 10 to 15 minutes of sunlight also helps reset that biological clock. I know in Arizona there's lots of sun, so that might be something that people could do in the early morning hours after they wake up. Also, things like caffeine and alcohol can have a pretty big effect. I'm not saying get rid of either one of them, but you want to stop caffeine around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so that way it doesn't affect your ability to fall asleep at night. And with alcohol, you want to stop drinking about 3 hours before bedtime to give your body the chance to metabolize through that alcohol so it doesn't wake you up in the middle of the night.
Well, I think that's a great point. It's everything in moderation. And so, Doctor, where can we go to get more information?
If people want more information, we have a great video series that can be found at advilpm.com, and there's also free samples available.
Excellent. Dr. Michael Bruce, thank you so much for being on with us today.
Thanks for having me.
And stay where you are. We'll be right back.